What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with KP. I have got a different kind of episode for you today. I'm super excited to bring you along with something a little different. Okay, so I am currently 7 days post show. So last Saturday, I competed in NPC Michigan State and I took third. So the last 7 days, I have been navigating a lot mentally, not so much about the placing. If you watch my last YouTube episode, it's a whole come down process post show. I don't care if you win, I don't care if you lose. It is a lot mentally because literally since I stepped off stage last July 4th, NPC Universe, every single day has built up to the next time I step on, right? Like I've literally dedicated my life to improving. There's a lot of build up going into show, mentally, physically, emotionally, and then naturally there's also a come down, okay? And so I rode a lot of waves this last week, and last night, I'm not gonna lie, I was in the trenches of self-doubt. The last couple of days I have been pretty much in the trenches of self-doubt, and I do believe there is a healthy amount of internal pressure that is required to pursue anything great in life. Like, you need that. I am an individual that is very hard on myself no matter what I do. Whether I'm posting a carousel on Instagram, whether I'm posting a YouTube on YouTube, or whether I'm stepping on stage. I'm grateful to have a very supportive husband that has really been there to like talk through on a daily basis everything that I'm going through. And honestly, this experience is better because he's not going through it with me. Sometimes we're both in prep, and that's where it can get a little much. Let's just say that. All that to say, I went to bed last night with a plan because I have a clear timeline and a clear goal in mind. I know exactly what I need to improve on between now and NPC Universe the next time I step on stage. And those areas are my core control and my posing, which are two things I have been super diligent with. I've revolved my entire season around my core control, my digestion, managing that, and my posing with my mobility work. The whole entire reason I started doing mobility work was so that I could pose better. But the situation is with my posing routine, it wasn't that I didn't do it well. It was just from my stage photos, I was able to see that the transitions that I'm doing are not complementary. There are better ways I could be transitioning that would hide my flaws, because when you are on stage, the entire intent of the routine essentially is to showcase your physique while hiding your flaws, because that's what the judges are looking for. And so this warm-up show was super valuable. I wasn't expecting to learn as much as I did, but I'm grateful for it. I'm going to be better for it. I'm already better for it. And with the whole self-doubt piece, what I was starting to do was like going through my camera roll and like looking back a year ago, looking back at the beginning of my journey, looking back a couple of weeks, just to confirm, just for proof that I have actually improved. And what I found in doing that is when I look back at myself a year ago and I look at my posing and I look at my physique, like I had just as much, if not more, delusion then than I do now. Honestly, probably more so then because of the doubt that I'm sitting with now. Like looking back at myself, I'm just like, if that girl could step on stage and do what I'm about to do, like, why am I doubting myself? Because I am a million times better than I was then. So that alone has given me confidence. But I'm just going to say, like, if you are looking for evidence that you are not good enough, if you are looking for that, you will always find it. But the thing I couldn't find in searching through my camera roll, whether it was yesterday, 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, there was no evidence to be found that I am worse today than I was in the past. I am the best I have ever been. But my best will never be enough for me because I am always striving to be the next best version of myself. So in real time, that is what I am navigating a little bit. But today I am training lower body A, and I am so excited because I am coming off 2 consecutive rest days. With the feedback that we got 1 week ago, we came in too hard. So we need to soften in the next 20 days because I am 3 weeks out yesterday. The plan adjustments we made, we have completely pulled upper body. I love my upper body training. So my training split, my training cadence right now goes lower A, rest, lower B, rest, rest, repeat. So today we are training lower A. Lower A is my hardest training day, so I have 0 cardio today. What I'm going to take you through today is a few of my mobility exercises and a few of my exercises that I use the mobility for. My mobility work, I treat as training, which is why I call these exercises. So depending on the exercise, I do, say, 3 sets of 10. As I was reflecting on all of the progress that I have made the entirety of my journey, but also reflecting on the progress that I've made in this prep alone and the things that have made a significant difference was my mobility work. And the reason for that being, I went and I got a custom mobility program specifically for my limitations in my body. This expedited things really quickly, and this was a progressive mobility program, meaning I went in for an assessment and we started with a few exercises that took me 5 minutes a day. We followed up, I had immediate relief, but we built on that program. So every single day I have done about 5 minutes every single morning of my mobility stretching. And then on my lower body training days only, I do my full mobility routine. But this has been a progressive mobility routine because what happens is when you correct limitations in the body, you start to compensate in other areas. So I went in specifically for hip pain, hip discomfort, because I have a lot of it. I always have. I did gymnastics when I was younger and like slam my body on cement doing tumbling for cheer and like all the things. So what I found in trying to build my lower body and having like 2-3 lower body training days a week was that I was having a lot of aches in my hips. I was really limited on my range of motion, pain, just like even getting out of bed in the morning hurt. With my mobility program, we first targeted my hips. But as the mobility work started to work and the limitation in my hips got less and less, I started to then compensate in my back. So then I started having lower back pain. So then we built on my mobility routine in that way. And then once we started correcting my lower back, I then started having knee pain. It might have been the opposite way around, or kind of both at the same time. I don't really remember, but essentially I was following up about every 2 weeks and we were adjusting my mobility program every time I went in for how my body was adapting and progressing through correcting these limitations. This was very interesting for me in my training because I was essentially having to relearn some of these movements. The movements that I really struggled with relearning that I wasn't expecting to were my Smith machine RDLs and my single leg RDLs. Because when I started having better range with my hips, I then started dumping into my back. And when I started dumping into my back, I wasn't able to lift as heavy. And so correcting that form, I had to lighten the load, but I was targeting different muscle fibers. And so that's the interesting part mentally, is just relearning these movement patterns as you correct these limitations in your body. And there are so many ways to progress in the gym, you guys. I think so many people are just like trying to like ego lift and lift as much as possible. I don't lift as heavy as I can. My mission is to feel things in my glutes, because when I was having all this hip pain for years, I couldn't feel anything in my glutes. And with correcting all these limitations, now I can. It's wild because now I'm enjoying my training. I'm feeling strong in my training. Am I taking extra time to do this mobility work? Yeah, gladly, because it is really serving me and my journey. So I'm super excited to share this with you today. I do want to preface this episode by saying this is a $5 mic. Unfortunately, the mic that I really want to invest in is not in the business owner bodybuilding budget at the moment. So I am going to do my best today. I really hope this will suffice with all of the gym noise, but TBD. We're just going to go for it. Okay. My entire mobility program, I've started breaking up. So I do a little bit in the morning, which is my stretching, both for my hips and for my back, because I do my posing in the morning. And then before my lower body day, I do the bulk of it. And then there's one exercise I do right before my Bulgarian split squats on my lower A day. And it's the same one that I do before my Smith step ups on my lower B day. I need an incline bench for that one. And with the layout of the gym, it just works better to do that exercise right before those movements. So today I'm going to share with you the exercise that has made the most impact on pretty much all of my exercises in today's training. So we are going to start with hip airplanes, which has been a progression. I started doing this one with 0 weight, and I have progressed to using weight with this one. The second one I'm going to share is for knee pain. It is so simple, but so effective. And the last one I'm going to share is for internal rotation. And this is the one I do before my Bulgarian split squats and before my step ups. So I'm going to show you those 3 exercises for my mobility. And then I'll take you through my pendulum squat and my Bulgarian split squats today. Pendulum, I really used to struggle with getting good depth. I would also have knee pain and back pain on this one. So this was like a triple whammy. The machine itself is pretty heavy, and I currently have no pain on it doing all of this mobility work. Bulgarian split squats used to be my most dreaded, as it is most other people's most dreaded exercise. It is currently my favorite exercise, you guys. But that is the game plan. So let's go and get this lower body a day. First things first, we have to pee. For the hip airplane, I am using a 10-pound weight. These are really good for opening up the hips and kind of like just getting that full range of motion. I really struggle with internal rotation, but I find that these really help me get a better depth to pretty much all of the exercises that I'm going to be doing today. So this is how we do it. We are going to hold the weight in the opposite hand that we are standing on. And you're going to bend over and you're going to turn your hip all the way in and then come back up. You probably can't hear, but mine like really snap and pop as I'm like getting into this movement. The first set is going to be 10 on each side. And I'm not bending into that standing leg. I am literally just like twisting my hip all the way inward and then coming all the way back up. So my hips are like aligned on top of each other. I'm just letting these 10 pounds like hang in my opposite arm. So this is not a strength training exercise. This is just a mobility exercise. This is warming my hips up, opening my hips up, loosening my hips up so that I can feel these movements more in my glutes. The situation is I lose count when I'm talking. So I'm going to say that is 10. And then we do 10 on the other side. I will say when I first started these, I had a pretty big love-hate relationship with them. And then I slowly became obsessed because they make the biggest difference in my training, I swear. The thing I loved about working with Kyle was that like he prescribed my mobility program, but like I've just kind of been able to fit it in to my training however it feels good for me and my body. For this, the program says 3 sets of 5 to 10. What I like to do is 10 on each side, 8 on each side, 5 on each side, and I stick with the 10 pounds the whole time. All right, that's the hip airplane. Moving on. After the hip airplane, I move right into the banded TKEs. This is for knee pain. So you're going to take your band. This is a 40 to 80 pound band, and you're just going to wrap it around the pole like so. Okay, you're going to step one leg into the band. That leg with the band on it is going to be the behind leg. And you're going to start on your toe, and you're just going to pull back. You don't have to lock it out all of the way, but the band is just going to go like a little above your knee, and you're just going to kind of like step into that heel. I do about 2 sets of 15 on this one, and this is like a very simple exercise, and it honestly feels like nothing, but it makes a huge difference. I used to have like a lot of like crunching feeling or like almost like a sharp pain. Like I would do like leg press, when I would do the pendulum squat, when I would really just do many of these exercises where I would have like that sharp knee pain. And since I've incorporated this, you guys, I have literally not had that at all, which was pretty shocking. So this is again a really simple and effective movement that if you do struggle with knee pain, I suggest adding it in. All right, that's 2 sets of 15 for the banded TKEs, and this is going to help me have zero knee pain for this lift. Also, let's just take a minute for the physique. Okay, this is what I look like 7 days post show. I do take my body weight daily, and it's been interesting keeping an eye on the trend post show. This is something I've never done before, and it's been really cool to like watch the trend throughout the week, especially because I did enjoy some food. So 1 week ago on show day, my body weight was 123.6, I believe. Show day, I was 123.6. Okay. Today I'm 123.0. But look at my weight trend throughout this week, you guys. So show day 123.6. After I enjoyed some food, 124.7, 127.2, 126.1, 123. Like this is how your weight fluctuates after a show. Like you have to understand when you're manipulating water, sodium, carbohydrates, like your body needs a minute to level out. And so what I didn't do this time was try to overcompensate after having more carbs, after having some foods I wasn't used to, when in the past I probably would have considered pulling back on food, doing a little bit more cardio. I didn't. I got right back on plan, and that's just kind of how my weight trended across the week. So in 7 days, my body weight is actually 0.6 pounds lower than my show day weight. So interesting, right? I'm going to finish this mobility. I'm going to get into my training, and we're going to come back and we are going to do the pendulum squat together. And I will show you how much pain I don't have because I took the time to do this mobility work. Okay? Okay, Guys, first exercise, we are doing the pendulum squat. I have already done two. I did my hip abductions in the machine and glute drive. I've got a light set, a medium set, and two working sets. On this machine, when we first implemented this, because I switched gyms, so I used to do a squat pro and then I switched to the pendulum squat. This machine in itself is pretty heavy, so I start with zero weight. But even with zero weight, I had knee pain, I had back pain, and I couldn't get a good range of motion. I couldn't really go deep because of all the limitations in my body. Since incorporating the banded TKEs and my airplanes and all of the other mobility work that I didn't show you, but those two in particular really help because on this, I would always feel like my knees were gonna like blow out, which is like a very scary feeling, like that sharp knee pain. So, anyways, I'm gonna take you through. So let's get into it. No weight first. I don't need much time between my light and medium set. Just enough time to add some weight, catch my breath, make a drink, So I'm going to start with 25 pounds for my medium set. I don't think you can hear, but my hips do click and pop a little bit when I'm going down, but I don't have any pain. Having a hand cramp somehow. I'm feeling strong, but I'm making sure to keep this slow and controlled, and I'm trying to press under me through both of my feet. I do feel strong today, which is why I'm increasing the weight and I'm really feeling the movement where I should be feeling it. I mean, honestly, this is good considering I just came off two rest days, which my food is lower, and I was feeling a little bit of hunger, a little bit of fatigue yesterday. But after my pre workout meal, like doing good, feeling good. That's where we want it. All right, let's do this. Which is set number one. You guys, this is a big day for me. This is the first. This is the first workout I've ever recorded. That might have been a bit of an overreach. We're gonna go down to 35 for this last working set. Okay, quality, quality reps. In between working sets, I take a little bit longer to catch my breath. I like to keep an eye on my heart rate. My beats per minute right now are 140. So I try to just like let it get back down to like 100 before I go into my next one. I do drink essential amino acids with a liter of water while I'm training. I'm currently drinking Evogen's Amino Chem. This is like peach mango flavor right now, and I'm really liking it. In the coaching app that I use, I do have all my workouts to log my weights. Honestly, I remember them. This is how I program for my clients, but stand by because I will not be using this app for much longer, okay? 35 pounds, last working set on the pendulum squat. We're gonna try a different angle this time. Guys, my vacuums. I'm gonna have no waste in 20 days. You understand? I apologize. I think this is probably the worst one, but we're in it, so we're committed. Oh my gosh. That is my 4 set of the pendulum squat. Up next is Bulgarian split squats, so I'm going to show you the next mobility exercise, okay? We do not have a formal name for this. Kyle says to call it pelvis over femur rotation. Sounds very official, but moving on to a different part of the gym. Bring you along with the journey at this point. I'm a little unapologetic, low key, not low key, full disclosure. I started bringing the tripod to the gym in February, and I was very embarrassed. That was after like 6 years, the entirety of my journey, like setting up my camera on a water bottle, like really weird angles. I mean, these are so weird angles. I'm figuring it out, okay? But I finally decided to like fully embody this persona and bring a tripod, and that is how I bring you better content. And honestly, I started training my lifts because it helps me improve. Like, people think it's for vanity. Which, I mean, obviously there is some of that. There is some truth to that. However, recording my lifts really helps me improve because I can watch myself and I can study myself. Even if you have a mirror, you're not always looking at yourself while you're training, you know? So it's important to like go back and study the movement and how you can execute it better. And that's what I do. It's funny because I was really reluctant to start sharing my list because I was waiting till I was pro, or I was waiting, I was waiting for those accolades. But I just feel like my body is proof that I have something to offer you guys. If I didn't know what I was doing, I wouldn't be getting results. So you are going to take an incline bench and you're going to play around with the level that you want it at. I'm going to go down 1. Right? And you're going to put your inner thigh on the bench and you're going to cross your arms. You're going to press into the pad. Okay? And you're going to turn your body whichever way you want because we're going to go both ways. So I'm first going to go left because this is where I'm most limited. And I'm going to hold. I'm pressing my femur into the pad. And I feel a little bit of pinching. And I'm just going to breathe through that. And then I'm going to release. And I'm going to go. I'm going to continue to press into the pad. And I'm going to hold it. And I'm just going to hold this. And I only do a few here. I'm already pretty warm. This just, I find, helps with these unilateral movements, like Bulgarian split squats and my step ups. This is really what I do this before. It helps me get like a deeper range with keeping that knee in line. So, funny thing with recording yourself at the gym, you guys, is I know all these people are going to go home and consume the same kind of content that I'm recording. And so while I'm doing this, something that really helps me stay delusional is the simple fact that like these people don't know if I have 100 followers or if I have 100,000 followers. I mean, they could just think I'm talking to myself right now, which is cool. But so much of a journey, you guys, is just getting out of your own way, and true success happens when you just fully embody and step into the person that you say you want to become. You know, this version of myself that I'm bringing to the universe, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm not just doing it on show day, I'm doing it every day. Right? 4 sets here. Left leg, wrist on the leg. Right set, 25 pounds. We are pressing into midfoot. We're keeping the knee in line, not letting it bow out or not making it stay too far in midline of the body. Ooh, guys, the problem is when I'm this lean, typically I keep my shoes off so that I can really connect with the ground. But what happens is I start getting cramps when I take my shoes off, but I was just starting to get a foot cramp there, so I just need to stop for a second. How you line yourself up and just kind of depends on how long your legs are. Just kind of have to figure it out. Okay. But I really want to feel this in my glute. And I do. Like pushing through that foot instead of driving my heel. You'll notice how my body is going forward. You want to drive forward instead of going up and down, because that's where you're going to really press in and get that glute engagement. I'm less focused on the weight that I am moving right now, because with my mobility, with kind of correcting these limitations of my body, like I said, I'm able to target different muscle fibers, which allows for glute growth in different areas of my glutes. Even though I've been training the same exercises for years and years, I'm still able to progress in this way because my body is moving differently. In regards to what I said about the shoes, by the way, and going barefoot, a big mistake I see people make, especially on leg day, is wearing like running shoes. If you are not going barefoot or wearing like a flat shoe, and you're wearing a running shoe that goes like this, where you're distributing that weight is going to be all over the place. You're going to be really unstable, and so it's really important that you're connecting with a part of the foot that you're trying to connect with during the movement. Like how I said, I'm driving into my mid-foot, so dropping into my heel. When you're wearing a running shoe, it's really hard to make that connection. So be very mindful of the shoes that you're wearing while training. That's one of the first things that I learned from my coach when I started working with him 3 years ago. I feel like it's been longer than that.
I'm going to voice over this part because my mic died, thank God. Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement here, but I still wanted to share this episode because I think there's value in the process, even when it's not perfect. And if nothing else, maybe this episode will help convince my husband that a better microphone is a worthwhile investment. So, as you are watching this final working set of my Bulgarian split squats, just a recap. I always start with my less dominant leg first, so I can give that side my best effort and make sure both sides are working equally. I am focused on driving through my midfoot, staying stable and keeping the tension where I want it. And I'm driving forward instead of going up and down. Normally I train barefoot because it helps me stay connected to the floor and really feel the movement. But lately I've been dealing with some foot cramps, so the shoes stayed on today. But if you are training lower body, I do recommend going barefoot or wearing a flat shoe whenever possible. A thick running shoe can make it harder to feel connected to the movement and the muscles you're actually trying to target. I only started bringing a tripod to the gym about 4 months ago, and honestly, aside from my mobility work, recording my lifts has probably been one of the biggest contributors to my improvement. It gives me the opportunity to review my form, catch things I don't notice in real time, and make adjustments much faster. So please let me know in the comments if you like this style of episode and if you want more, but record your lifts, you guys. All right, you guys, post-train, my mic died. I learned a lot by filming this today, so thank you for coming along for the journey, and thank you for sticking with this episode. If you are still here, don't forget, watch time is very, very, very important. Today's an interesting day because my coach is competing, my friends are competing this weekend, next weekend. Like, I just have a lot more community around me right now, like on the same wavelength as me, and it feels really good. I feel like I'm finally starting to reap the reward of all of the content I've been putting out into the universe the last several months. And it's hard not to get spiritual because I really feel this shift. And a theme the entirety of this prep is just letting things be good. But I don't want to jinx myself because leading into the last show, I was literally telling Ryan, my husband, every single day, like, I am so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Like, I do not say that out loud because I don't want to jinx it. And I started saying it because I felt it. I meant it. And then this week was just so dark. But in that darkness, I just broke through to that next layer of myself, and it's so difficult to describe, like when things feel so hard and uncomfortable and you're just like resisting, and then you just surrender. And in that surrender, I just felt so much love and gratitude for the process and for the experience, because in this experience it has attracted new people, places, and things. I really try, and I've gotten a lot better at leaving my emotions out, or at least recognizing when I am bringing my emotions into it. And one thing I did recognize in this last week is
talking this out with my husband last night, I was just telling him that I felt embarrassment about my stage photos. And his response to me was pretty powerful, because he's like, why would you ever feel embarrassed? Everybody is up on that stage basically naked. And why would embarrassment like even cross your mind? And I couldn't really answer that, because we then looked at my core from previous years, my physique from previous years, my posing from previous years, and it was like very cringe. But I just had so much love for the girl that did it, because without her, I wouldn't be here. But the me right now, looking at me right now, is just like so critical. And so I feel like the best way for that embarrassment not to have power over me is to share the journey. And so that's what I'm doing. Hey guys, I have not shut up the entirety of this season about my gut reset, about my posing, about my focus on my core control and just like nailing it. And despite my best efforts, in those 15 seconds on stage, I didn't nail it. But I did learn from it. And so in 20 days, I might show back up on stage and I might not nail it again, but I can guarantee you I will be better. And so I'm gonna share the journey, you guys. That is how you take your power back. That is how I'm going to detach the emotion that I'm feeling from this experience. And hopefully it helps somebody. So all that to say, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a like, make sure to subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next. But that is all I've got for you guys today, and I will see you in the next one.